What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is the third take of this. I really have not had good luck with takes lately, but welcome back, guys. Today we're going to talk about why I traded in my sport Trac so suddenly and just kind of why I decided not to buy another truck and if I wound up making the right decision, in my opinion. So if you guys who have been watching for a while, I used to own a sport Trac, a 2003 sport Trac XLS that was lowered. It was full bolt-on. I mean, the thing was pretty wild. And I would hope that most people watching this video remember it already. Hope they haven't forgotten it already, because that was just 2 months ago. And I decided to trade it in pretty suddenly on this car. This is my new car, my Mark 7 GTI. It's a 2017 GTI S trim, DSG, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about why I traded that truck in so suddenly, and then why I decided to not buy another truck, and then did I make the right decision in my head to go forward with that. So let's talk about why I did the trade-in first. So we're going to talk about finances and the economy, just because, you know, that's the stuff that gets people excited nowadays, right? It's just great stuff to talk about. So the market, with how the world has been the last couple of years, has been quite nuts, especially in the housing and automotive market, where car sales are just ridiculous. Markups are so absurd because of how hard it is to get stuff, the chip shortage, all that kind of stuff. And so the trade-in market has become a very, very, very big money maker for car dealerships, because they're not getting a lot of new cars, but if they can keep the stock of used stuff coming through, they're going to be making money off of it. So I took my truck to the dealership I bought my GTI from, and they originally came back with like $350 is what it's in our system. They had originally offered up to $500 the initial onset, just to make it more worth my time, because even my sales guy didn't really like that it was only $350. So they were like, we'll give you $500 for it. And I was like, that's reasonable. I mean, considering its blue book value at the time was $1,500. I blue booked it the night that I got home from that day. And so I was like, okay, I can think on that. I may sell it private party though, because I know I can get a lot more out of it. I knew I could at that time get considerably more than what even that offer was. So I went home that day, and the next day I got a call that they were going to bump my trade up to $1,000, which is quite a large jump from $350. That's like what, like $600 something plus dollar bump. I'm really not good at math, so I'm not gonna try that. So that's why I eventually took that. I mean, the financially just made sense. I mean, the truck's blue book was $1,500. Sure, it's a $500 loss, which is not pleasant to really think about, but compared to what I could have sold it private for, it would have taken me a long time to sell it because of what it was, and the mileage and the wear and tear and all that, because I'm not a good liar. So it'd be very quick to pick on me if I were trying to hide the issues that it had. It had quite a bit of little issues and a couple of major ones that, if a lot of you guys, I've documented before on the channel before, and it's really just been kind of like, towards the end of the time I had it, it was kind of a basket case. I took the trade-in. It happened so suddenly because it was the car I wanted at the time. That was a little bit earlier. I originally wasn't even planning on buying a car until now. Like, I was planning on originally my search starting like this week or next week towards getting a new car for me, and this just happened to kind of fall in my hands at a really good time. And so that's been kind of that, really. It was just like the time frame was a little bit earlier than I had originally intended for, and they offered me quite the deal on the truck. So I was like, why not just take it? And sure, I would have liked to have done a couple things differently. I would have liked to have not traded it in on the motives and with the CarPlay radio and all that kind of stuff, but unfortunately that's just the way it played out, and that's fine. It's unfortunate. I mean, I had a set of stock wheels on standby, but my dad was concerned about not having the stock lug nuts for them, so that's why I did not actually wind up getting those wheels, is because I just, you know, didn't have the lugs, so my dad was concerned about that. So I always listen to my dad on this kind of stuff, so I didn't wind up taking the trade on those wheels. It wasn't really a trade. It was like, they were given to me pretty much. They were like, oh, you can have them if you come pick them up. And I was like, okay, but do you have the lugs? No. Okay, my dad says I shouldn't go get it without the lugs. So that's why the motives are still on. If you find it on Marketplace somewhere, I have my opinions with the ad. I'm not going to speak it. You guys can go see it yourself. If you're in the Atlanta area and you can look up for sport Tracs on Marketplace, mine is there and you can find it. I have like I said, I have my opinions on the ad. I'm not going to speak about it. Y'all have fun. Y'all go do what y'all want. Y'all want to buy it? Cool. Send me pictures. If one of you guys buys it, message me and we can keep in touch, because I still care about that truck's existence. I don't want anything bad happening to it, even if it's not mine anymore. So if one of you guys happens to buy it, send me a message on Instagram or anywhere you feel like you can get a hold of me. I mean, my social medias are all over the place, and keep in touch with me about it, and we can, you know, maybe have a meetup between these two, because this car and that truck only saw each other one time, if they had feelings, and that was when the trade happened. So yeah, that's kind of just the general gist, a bit of a ramble about the trade in itself, and why that happened, and why it was so sudden, why it still had all the mods on it, like the headlights and all that stuff. So I know a lot of people were wondering if I ever traded it in, would I be willing to sell the headlights? Unfortunately, those went with the truck. They were hardwired in, so that's part of the reason why we didn't, and plus we didn't have another set of headlights for it, so I wasn't going to trade it in without headlights. It's just, I feel like that's just wrong. So yeah, so why did I not buy another truck? So the pretty much the general gist of it is I was never really a big part of the truck community here. I was never really welcomed into it. I was never really given a chance to really mesh with anyone there. So the car community was more where I leaned, because I am a car guy, and I was a car guy in a truck owner's body, as I said many times, and so I just wound up sticking to that community more. And so I never really did much with the truck community. I went to one truck meet, and that was kind of that. I think I may have recorded. I really don't remember if I recorded it. I don't think I did, actually. That was the one time I've ever done a truck meet thing, and I went and I, hung out there for about 30 minutes before it got shut down, and drove home. And so it was a very short kind of outing that day. So I never really did a lot with the truck community. I never was into it. I mean, around here where I live, not to use the term derogatorily, but I live in a redneck state. I mean, I live in Georgia, so I mean, I'm pretty much in the heart of the South when it comes to redneck trucks. Like the lifts, the squats, the big tires, or the deep dish wheels with the rock lights and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's kind of what I guess like a generalization of the truck community here. So I was never really a part of that because I just didn't mesh well with that. My truck was lowered and it was more about performance and looking like more of a show car mixed with a pickup truck than going off-road or having the lift kits and all that kind of stuff. I got asked quite a few times if I would ever change my mind and go back and lift it or get another truck that'd be off-road based, and I was just never into it. So my whole prerogative has always been sports cars and hatchbacks and all that kind of stuff, so it kind of just played out that I was probably going to wind up getting a car at some point. The truck was a gift. The truck I had kind of a final say-so on when I got it, but it was a gift. I wasn't really I was like, oh, do you like it? Yeah, I like it. Okay, cool, it's yours. That was kind of how that played out. Just kind of like a quick, like, generalized, paraphrase, whatever you want to call it, way of that played out. So another thing is, I didn't use my Sport Trac as much of a truck. Towards the end of the time I had it, I really mostly just kind of used it as a daily driver. The bed was never utilized for anything. I mean, I wasn't taking the trash to the landfill anymore like you guys remember I used to do. We actually got a trash service at some point while I worked at the car wash I worked at before I started doing what I do now. And so I was not doing truck stuff anymore. I didn't need to have the bed. I didn't need to have the extra torque. I didn't need to have all that kind of stuff. Pointing out, this has more torque and horsepower than that truck did, so take that as you will. So eventually it just made sense to me that I just didn't need to have a truck unless I really, really wanted to have a truck, and I didn't. I really wanted to get into what I know best, cars. And so that's kind of that. So at the end of the day, do I feel like I made the right decision with that? Do I think that I made a bad move? Do I think that I shouldn't have done this, that I should have gotten another truck, or I should have waited down the road and kept the Sport Trac a little while longer? I think I made the right decision. I think given the circumstances of how this happened and the trade value I was given and the opportunity that I was given with this car, it made no sense for me not to do it. The trade-in value on that truck was $350. They gave me $1,000 on the spot for that truck, and so I made money off of that. In a sense, I made money off that trade, because like if the deal with the original value was $350 and they gave me $1,000 for it, that I kind of made money in a way on that. And of course it went towards this thing, but that was kind of how that played out. And so I think just in terms of the deal itself, I made a right choice. Sure, the interest rate sucks. I'm a first-time buyer when it comes to cars, and I haven't really had a lot of credit, so that's kind of that. It's kind of unfortunate because that's just kind of how things play out when you haven't had a credit established a long time, or you don't have a lot of it to really show. Like, I have one credit card and that's all I use, so like I didn't really have a lot to really show, and that's why I unfortunately got screwed a little bit on that end. But everything else, I mean, it worked out great, and I got a car that I've wanted for a long time. I drove that Mark 6 last year, and that ruined me, and I was like, I gotta have one. I gotta have a GTI. And so this one showed up. But anyway, that's just kind of in general terms why I traded in the Sport Trac, why I did it so suddenly, why I didn't buy another truck, and I think I made the right decision. So hopefully soon, within the next couple of weeks, there'll be some stuff on the way for this thing. I've been kind of debating on what I want. I made a video about that. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to see done to this car first. I've got quite a long list of things that I've got picked out, and I could pick anything out of that list pretty much, outside of upgrading the turbo, which I'm not sure I'm going to do yet. So anyway, guys, hope you all enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, guys, and have an awesome day.